That shit is so sick.
Yeah.
That shit is so
Uh,
sick. Anyways, y'all check her out. I had to plug her. Remember, we want you to be an activist. And don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley. I've been checking her out for a while, and I kind of wanted to plug her on the show for a while. I saw it earlier, so hopefully y'all go check her out. I hope I don't get in trouble for playing that shit. I really wanted to play some more of it, but most likely they might get me for that. I sent some videos. Let's go into the Putin video. I'm not gonna stay on here too long tonight. I work all day to fucking tomorrow, so let's start. I'm gonna start speeding through these segments. But here's Putin assassination attempt. Did you hear about that?
yeah, I heard about that story earlier. I didn't watch anything on it, but I heard it. It popped up on my Apple News.
Yeah, let's play this.
Russia. For the last couple of weeks, there have been numerous reports about the health and safety of the Russian president. Now, another report has emerged. It claims that Putin survived an assassination attempt. The report is based on the assertion of a Ukrainian official. He says there was a plot to murder Putin. Who was behind this plot? Our next report tells you.
Did Vladimir Putin survive an assassination attempt? It's a question many in the West are asking, courtesy Major General Kirill Budanov, the chief of Ukraine's defense intelligence. 2 days back, he made a startling claim. He said there was an attempt to murder Putin. By whom? No one knows. And when exactly? 2 months back, says Mr. Budanov. Here's what he told a Ukrainian newspaper on Tuesday. There was an attempt to assassinate Putin. He was even attacked, it is said, by representatives of the caucus not so long ago. This is non-public information. It was an absolutely unsuccessful attempt, but it really happened. It was about 2 months ago. There was no publicity about this event, but it took place. What basis of these claims? There is none. Budanov has refused to provide any credible evidence. The only thing in his favor is the fact that he is a Ukrainian intel official, someone who's said to know a thing or two about Russia's internal affairs. But his claims have not been confirmed by global bodies, neither NATO nor American intelligence, and they are not sticking their neck out to back Budanov. They're treating it for what it is, an assertion. But if it is true, this will not be the first time that Putin faced such an attempt. In the past, there have been at least 2 high-profile attempts on his life. The first one was on the 2nd of March 2008, the day Russia held its presidential elections. Putin was attending an open-air concert on St. Basil's Slope. A Tajik man was sent to murder him. The attempt failed. The man was nabbed by Russia's Federal Security Service. The second attempt came in February 2012. 2 mercenaries were nabbed from Odessa, a seaport in the Black Sea. They were both from Russia's North Caucasus. They belonged to a group seeking an Islamist state within Russia. Their plan was to go to Moscow and kill the president. Their efforts failed, thanks to Russian security services. These were just 2 instances. There could have been other attempts as well. But given Russia's state of secrecy, it's hard to state an exact number. What we can say for sure is that Putin has indeed become paranoid for his safety. Reports in recent months have described him as being increasingly isolated. They say he has started surrounding himself with a very small group of advisors and security personnel. What does he fear? A coup or an attempt at his life? Only he knows best.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.
Yeah, let me see some comments. These are like childish attempts for him. He has seen too many already. His statement, a man destined to be hanged will not drown explains perfectly. I don't really get that, but there have probably 20 plus confirmed attempts on him since 2004. The lesson is that when it comes to something as profoundly difficult as security sector reform, the UN Security Council must keep in mind the limitations of UN peace operations and either scale up their commitment or just get out of the security reform game in post-conflict zones. Somebody knows a little bit of what they're talking about there. Right, very accurate coming from a Ukrainian, nonetheless, LOL. It's just a casual stuff for that guy. He has survived hundreds of them. Thanks for his experience as spy. He already survived more than 40 assassination attempts. He's legend. Um, his central insight in the 1978 paper, Cooperation Under the Security Dilemma, was that many of the means by which a state tries to increase its security decreases the security of others. It's not hard to find examples of this in East Asia. That's interesting right there. Many of the means by which a state tries to increase its security decrease the security of others. So, but I don't know if that has to be. Um, I think that that's true, but I don't know that that is what it has to be. You know, just because, for me to be more secure means I have to be more aggressive, basically, is what I translate that to be. Anyways, that was an interesting comment. That's the same person that made that other comment earlier that I said was, who is this person? So they probably got some kind of, oh, he's got more comments too. Anyways, let me keep reading. It says, laying the shock absorbers down to cushion the shock, or if when it actually happens, the U.S. and the Western allies know but cannot admit to approving such actions, as it might give a green light to Moscow to do the same upon them. So they keep the facade up of not knowing or approving, but wish it would happen. I don't know if I really get what you're saying there, buddy. Next comment. To the extent that they've been trying to provide some security, trying to talk to the regional players about security is a smart thing to do. We have a security situation that is really deteriorating by the hour, Graham said. Another comment, it says, they're thinking of assassination. The academy where they learned that Putin is the headmaster there, trying to assassinate an assassin. Laughing emojis. Um, if it was possible to prolong one's life, then we have to have asked God to prolong the life of this man who has stood up against the evil in the West, the evil axis of today. Long live Putin, long live the Federation. Lots of love from Zimbabwe. Wow. I just knew that was going to be a Russian. His name is Raslucky Haji. Wow, that's a real person. Let me read his comment again. He says, if it was possible to prolong one's life, then we have asked God to prolong the life of this man who has stood up against the evil in the West, the evil access of today. Long live Putin, long live the Federation, lots of love from Zimbabwe. Wow. Another comment that says, oh, if Ukrainian official says that, you can 100% be sure it is a lie. Another comment that says, if there's no credible evidence, then why are you reporting it? Couple more comments. These comments are great. When asked specifically about the lack of security in parking garages, Capitol Police spokeswoman Kimberly Schneider said she does not discuss security operations, but said the force constantly assesses and reassesses our security procedures and has not ruled out changing them. We had a sense of responsibility in overcoming fear. If Republicans are serious about border security and homeland security, then they have to demonstrate that with actions. And one of the biggest ways to do that is to fund the agencies that are trying to provide homeland security. Hmm. There's a lot going on in this fucking comment section. I could stay in there forever.
Yeah, they
Uh,
just mad because Putin can't be voted out.
Yeah.
He either got to die or step down, pretty much.
Yeah. And what I was arguing was the stability of Russia could be related to that. And some of the instability over here in the States could be related to us switching back and forth between Biden and Trump every 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a
Learning a
couple
whole lot
more.
about this because it's like, as a kid, when they teach you about Russia and shit like that in school, they're like, oh, everybody has to conform to the government. They pay you what they think you're worth. No, as a regular citizen, civilian, you're going to live very poor.
Yeah. Let me go through this. I'm trying to look and find what I sent to make sure I covered everything because this is gonna be the last show of the week. Cause I'm not doing one tomorrow. Fucking tired.
You can't answer that. You can't.
Ted Cruz. We covered all of this. That's good. What the hell is this? Hold on. We covered that. I'm sorry, y'all. Bear with me for a second. I want to do some checking here and make sure I covered everything. Replacement theory, we covered that.
A couple of billion less. We could probably solve a few of the world's biggest.
Hold on. Because I don't know what the title of these until I click on them because they're just links that I sent out. Better work. I'm getting really efficient at this. I ain't gonna lie. I covered all of this stuff. And I cover stuff in a shorter amount of time now. I like that too. Because I'm trying to get the show in segments.
If we had fewer people in the world,
so that when I edit them, they're already ready for me to make videos out of them, and I could just.
The world is undergoing industrial transformations. The likes of.
Yeah, we covered all of that shit. I fucking didn't finish watching that particular video though, so I might want to touch on that. No,
You can't answer that. You can't.
it's okay. I covered everything that I really wanted to cover this week, so that's good.
Yo.
Yeah. We'll be there too. Fuck. I must have broke on it. Hold on. Yo, piece of man. I must have broke.
Doctor, thanks so much
for
joining us. First, just explain what great replacement theory is and what its proponents are advocating here.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, man. Let me see if it's something else. Can y'all hear me? If it was something else. The American genocide, that was the other one that I wanted to cover, but it was too long and too dark. I didn't want to fucking. Sometimes I'll be too dark on the show. I don't want to fucking make it too dark. And then people be getting mad at me too, because it's like I'm always talking about, oh, we can cover this. How long is this? 4 minutes. It's perfect. 100 years after Haiti paid. And this has been coming up a lot. I think there's an anniversary for Haitian Revolution or something. I don't know. Something with Haiti keeps popping up for whatever reason.
The island.
Oh, I think it's because of the reparations argument in France and all of that. So anyways, let me play this. I guess we're going to wrap it on this one.
Nation of Haiti often makes headlines in the midst of crisis, but there's less attention paid to the factors underlying its status as the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere and one of the most unstable. The New York Times has conducted an unprecedented investigation into those root causes and is putting a harsh spotlight on Haiti's former colonizer, France. My colleague Ali Rogan has more.
To learn more about this sweeping investigation, I'm joined by Catherine Porter. She's the Toronto bureau chief of the New York Times, and she's been covering Haiti since its devastating 2010 earthquake and led the team that pored over centuries-old documents and archives for this story. Catherine, thank you so much for joining us. How did your team come up with this idea?
Well, as you mentioned, I've been in Haiti since 2010, and I think I've been back more than 30 times. And any journalist that spends any time in Haiti asks the question, like, why is it like this? Why is the poverty so bad? Why is the infrastructure so bad? And why is it so much worse in other countries around it? And the obvious answer is often given as corruption, which is true. But reading a book on one of my trips there, it mentioned this thing called the independence debt that Haiti had paid to France after winning its independence, had then been forced to pay in cash. And it just stirred it's planted a seed way back then. And I started looking for more and more information about this.
Yeah, and let's talk about how that independence debt came to be, because I think as some people know, Haiti was founded by former slaves. They overthrew their French colonial rulers in 1804, but not long after that, they ended up paying France. Why?
Yeah, they called it reparations, which is so mind-boggling now. 21 years after the first Black nation of the Americas was formed, a battalion of French ships arrived with a message from the king, basically saying, either you give us money or prepare for war. And at that time, Haiti had been completely frozen out. America, the United States would not deal with it. Britain wouldn't acknowledge it. So facing war and desperate for international recognition, the president of Haiti at the time agreed.
Right. And you've dove into how much those so-called reparations would equal in today's money. You also looked into the value that was lost to the Haitian economy because of so much of this money and the interest on these payments going out of the Haitian economy, not going to Haitians. So tell us about those figures.
After we did all that research, we collected the figures and we were able to extrapolate what the opportunity cost was to Haiti. So if Haiti hadn't grown, if its economy had stayed as stagnant as it had been throughout the 1800s, it would have added 21 billion US dollars to the economy today. If the economy of Haiti had been boosted and grown at the same rate as the average rate of Latin American countries around it, it would have been a staggering $115 billion.
Of course, the United States also has a long and sordid history with Haiti. What did you find out about that relationship?
Well, what was really interesting is that first you had these French colonial masters, and they held a tight grip on Haiti long after independence. And finally, the way that they held on to the financial strings of the country was through the Haitian National Bank. And soon enough, American banks took an interest in the Haitian National Bank because, as we saw increasingly, more and more bankers from around the world saw that this was a place that, despite how poor it was, they could get rich. So we discovered that one of the reasons the United States invaded Haiti and occupied it for a very long time, starting in 1917, was because a bank that is now known as Citigroup had really prodded the State Department to go in and secure its interests in the Haitian National Bank. And that then quickly developed into a full-fledged occupation. So part of the impetus was financial interests of Wall Street bankers.
Catherine Porter with the New York Times, thank you so much for joining us.
That was a very soft and friendly coverage of that topic. Damn, they're going to make me go into that shit next week. Let's read the comment underneath this is PBS NewsHour. This is their caption. It says, Haiti is one of the poorest nations in the Western Hemisphere, yet the reason for that are often overlooked. The New York Times recently conducted an unprecedented investigation into those root causes, which includes revelations about Haiti's former colonizer, France. The Times' Catherine Porter, who led the team that uncovered the story, joins Ali Rogan to discuss. Okay, so she's a New York Times reporter. Oh, comments are turned off. Not surprising. The comments underneath there would have been great. I don't know why, whenever you mention Haiti, it just gets people so fucking riled up. Like they really care about Haitians and what really happened in the history. Like, it gets people so fucking riled up. Anyways, I might cover this next week. What you think, Deuce? About to wrap it.
Man, that's crazy. Man, I would need to. Yeah, I would definitely like to know some more about that. But yeah, that's just crazy how French. What was it? The French pretty much told them basically they extorted the country.
Yeah. And it still continues to this day. I've written multiple papers on this. This is my shit. Like, I'm so fucking sensitive with it because I think that it's so connected to really the plight of Black Americans here in America, especially in the South, the Caribbean, Central America. All of those stories are intertwined. And Haiti is the key. It's the key story to unlock, the history,
Yeah,
why and how everything is the way it is now. And they be talking about Haiti is just a shithole country and its corruption. They've been getting fucked over left and right since independence. I think they've been getting punished. They embarrassed. They sent freaking Napoleon ass running. They embarrassed because it was like the first black, and then it was like about slavery too, because when you land on Haiti, you are free. And that was a problem. It caused reverberations throughout the West. You know what I'm saying? And all different kinds of, for different reasons. Also, Haiti was the pearl, what they call it? The pearl of Antilles or whatever. They made so much money. Haiti was the most producing plantation or colony probably ever in history.
yeah,
You know, there. I mean, there's so much. There's so much there. I don't know where to even go. Like, it's so much there. Um, fucking. But so, like I say, they're the key. So if you want to understand, like Central America, the banana wars, even immigration, the way they do migration, all of that stuff, the stuff related to slavery, the blacks in the South, because I always a simple connection that you can see is the Creole, right? And you're from Louisiana. The Haitians are Creole, bruh. And a lot of the food, the religions, the traditions, the way they talk, all of that shit is Haitian, bro. In Louisiana. Louisiana is Haitian.
yeah, yeah. And it's crazy that Louisiana is still under those old parish laws from back in the day. That's meant to lock your black ass away.
What's up, Doc? I can't stay on much longer, bro. I work a double tomorrow. What did we cover today, Deuce? Fill in, Doc.
We covered that story that was coming out about the cops not responding, the misleading information that our governor had received on the Uvalde shooting. We covered the little brief clips from the NRA meeting, which was used against them in a sense, if you ask me. We covered that. We covered Putin having an assassination attempt against his life. What else am I missing? I know I'm missing something.
Yeah, some random stuff. I can't even think straight. I'm tired.
Oh, the guy who has like 30 something kids or some shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, did you see any of those clips? What do you think about the Texas shooting as far as Abbott, the pressure on Abbott, and like, they're talking about the one door, and then basically the cops not going in, and they're, I know we touched on this. I think you was here when we touched on it before, but it's like they're really blowing that up in the media. A lot of people are upset, and it looks like the Abbott being kind of rattled about it in the press conference, to me, kind of gives the story a bit more legitimacy. What do you think about that, Doc?
Oh, I missed that. I was actually trying to catch up on topics.
The what was I saying? The Abbott looked kind of rattled in his news conference. We played it a piece of it earlier. And for me, because I was saying that it's kind of like a conspiracy theory, or maybe it's just like the parents are being overreacting because they're just sensitive about their children being, killed, and that's understandable. But seeing Abbott kind of rattled in the press conference made it seem like the story has more credence or legitimacy. The story about the cops not taking care of business went, related to the school shooting. What you think?
Yeah, well, like I told you the other day, I'm waiting a couple of days.
Yeah. So that's what I'm
And
saying too.
you see why I said I'm waiting a couple of days.
Yeah, because it's totally political, and it probably be like I was saying earlier. No telling, it might be even longer before we start getting any really good information about the topic.
Well, remember, by the time I had left work at 9 o'clock, I had already seen 3 or 4 different numbers and a whole bunch of different statements, conflicting statements as to timelines. That's why I said I'm going to wait because the media's already got control of this. Let's wait for the official announcement.
Yeah, I think that's wise. But are we going to get good information, and how long is it going to take? You know. So yeah, so like, what the hell happened? Really, it's hard to say, and what Doc is saying, because we have these clips, these damn TikToks, and everybody is all sensational and emotional. But again, you've got fucking election cycle, and that's what people are forgetting, and that's probably why Abbott is rattled. Maybe it's not that the police did anything wrong. It's just that there's a political cycle, and Abbott is on the hot seat because I mean he could possibly lose his seat. I mean the chances are slim, I would say, but there's always a chance when there's election. You know what I'm saying, that you could lose.
Hey man, if Beto ends up winning governor, I could very well end up moving to Florida, man.
Yeah,
Seriously, we're at a place where we're at the place where we can make that choice now.
yeah, and Beto could win, even though I don't think he will. Like I say, he's
Hope he will.
lost. He's lost multiple times before, and the Democrats get paid to lose anyways. So, talking,
Well, fuck it, I'll lose too.
blowing hot air, and they get paid for it. So, that's what I think is going to happen. And because Texas, when was the last time anybody won a statewide election that wasn't like Republican in Texas?
Remember though, we've had a couple of million West Coast people move in over the last 2 or 3 years. All of our major cities, the number of Democratic voters is going up. And this one isn't going to be by county. Governor's not by county. Governor's by total.
Yeah, governor's by state, but it still has those regions, and the way they draw up those regions, it really doesn't matter. They pack those.
The governor doesn't matter. You don't get points for counties with the governor. The governor is a win or lose.
Straight pop? Is it straight popular vote?
Yeah, it's the representatives that have all the weird lines. The representatives and the senators. The governor is an all or nothing vote.
Okay. Yeah, I get confused with that because every state is different with that shit. It gets so fucking confusing. Yeah. So, but I still think
I'll clarify it like tomorrow night.
Yeah, the I might not be on tomorrow night. I ain't gonna lie. But what was I gonna say? Oh, the rural areas run Texas. You know what I'm saying? And it's been that way for a long time. Like the rural areas in Texas have the power in Texas. It's not the big cities. But a part of that is that, Texas is so fucking huge and we have all those little towns. And all those little towns add up to a lot of people because in Texas really we only have a few big states and the rest I mean big cities and the rest of the whole state is small towns, right? So the Democratic or liberal folks live within the cities, and in the rural areas they tend to be more conservative.
Yeah,
So
man, it's gonna be interesting to see. I mean, I get what you're saying. I'm not discrediting what Doc's saying, but I would definitely hate to see the state of Texas be overtaken by democratic values. Honestly, you know, um, you know, say what you will about it, man, about Texas and whites and this and that, but it's just I don't know, bro. We kind of stay out of the scenes of all of the other shit that takes place. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like once you get Democrats in there, it's gonna start being more of the bullshit that we're seeing. All these freaking cop shootings, racism starting to go through the roof. They're just gonna drive their narratives in there, and I feel like that's the narrative that they drive, man. And if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. But I just feel like that's the narrative that they drive. They're constantly driving that division because they want to they want to take over. They're really pushing for that new world order, one government deal, and fucking over citizens.
well, Texas is pretty much in play, like Doc was saying, and Texas is really important. So it's one of those dominoes. Like if Texas was to fall on the Democratic side, it would be pretty much a wrap. You know what I'm saying? It would be a wrap for the Republicans.
That's why we need the fucking yeah. I mean, I know it would take we could, but it would take some work, some some money wise, because you got to think about the elderly that are receiving Social Security, certain benefits. But like, we need to jump off this whole union bandwagon. Hello, how's it going?
No, we need unions. Texas, if Texas falls to the Democratic side,
Uh,
like so, 'cause Florida is a fucking they, Florida is a coin flip. every election cycle, Florida is a coin flip. So you can't rely on Florida. They could fall on that side, and then
Solid red.
you say it's solid red. I don't think so. I really don't, because Florida is in
Dude,
like
it's full of old people and their parents. They all vote Republican.
the all those retirees and stuff. Yeah, I know there's a lot of them there, but there's a whole bunch of I want to be careful how I say this,
Dude, it's
but
Republican and Disney.
and Disney is Democratic.
Yeah, Disney just got broken. If you've been reading the news, the governor broke Disney because Disney tried to interfere in state politics.
Yes, I think I covered that probably one of the nights he wasn't here. But but that's a lot of that don't matter about the voters. Those people are still going to vote how they're going to vote. And like I be saying about the internet, the opposite is always a lot of times the way they spin everything. The way everything happened with Disney, that may work for the Democrats somehow. You get what I'm saying?
I don't know.
So,
I
but
just
what I'm
say that you're gonna have a lot of people voting different. I really feel like when it comes down to major elections, the statewide elections for governors and things, I feel like you're gonna have a lot of people vote differently. Especially in the minority communities, because they have truly been bamboozled with fucking Biden and the shit that they have pulled. It's gonna be, it's, dude, the Democrats are losing, bro. They're losing their ass on all kinds of levels.
Well, see, that's
Yeah.
just it. We don't know what it really is like because the media is making sure that all we know is that the Democrats are the greatest things ever, and if you like Trump, you need to go to re-education camp.
Right. Right. Because they control the narrative. The narrative is definitely on the liberal side. Um, Damn it. What was I gonna say? That movie. What was the name of that movie where the guy, the whole election came down to this one dude? I think it was in Florida, and both of the candidates, wanted him to vote for him, and they would like fly him out and try to like convince him to vote for him and stuff. And this guy was basically an idiot and not very politically inept. What movie was that? Y'all know what I'm talking about? I was thinking about that movie when I was thinking about Florida because it's like, and the undecided voter, I think some shit like that or whatever. And it's like how these people be undecided all the way up
Swing
until the
vote.
swing vote. Yes, that was the name of it. It
Kevin
was a
Costner.
it was a great movie. Did you see it? It's so freaking funny, and it is very political. I love politics, so that movie explains politics and how it fucking works. It-
All right, yourself.
yeah. So, anyways, I really enjoyed that movie, but it explains the undecided voter. So it's like these people who are these people that all the way up until the day of election they still like I don't know. Who are they? Who are you? You know what I mean? That's kind of weird to me, like in a lot of ways, because uh, maybe it means that the politicians aren't getting their message out as far as what they stand for. You know what I'm saying? Like what their planks are, because with a lot of these campaigns, it's like razzle dazzle punchlines, and nobody even cares what the damn you know planks are. So maybe that's what it is. But to me, it seems like if you are interested in the candidates or you're interested in the election or whatever, you have some kind of something you care about, something that you want to try to affect, some kind of policies that you have a problem with, or policies that you want to go in. So then it seems like to me that you would go and see which candidate is more aligned with doing the things that you want to get done. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like if you have been paying any attention, by the time of the election, you should have had that figured out. We are one of the countries that have the longest election cycles. Most other countries, they get through their whole thing like that. They do like a whole year of touring around the country before the damn campaign, before the election even happens. Like they don't do that in other countries. That's another reason why our elections cost so fucking much. It's expensive to run an election when it takes a whole fucking year to do it. In the UK, they don't spend a quarter, they spend like a quarter of what we spend. And their election is like over really quickly in like 6 weeks or some shit. Let me read Dice comment. He says, confirmed governor election is a winner take all popular vote with ties determined by joint session. Okay, straight popular vote. General election for governor of Texas incumbent Greg Abbott better work. Delilah Boreos, Mark Tippett, Ricardo Turrios Vanilla are running in the general election for governor of Texas in November 8th, 2022. That's really good information because that's another thing. Let me give you a League of Women Voters. That's what I use. I think it's Democratic or whatever, but it's really good for information about all the candidates on both sides. Like you can go there. I think that works nationally. League of Women Voters. I really think that works nationally, and you can go to their website and it'll show you who all the people are running in whatever those elections are, and you know, their backstories and what they stand for, links to their websites and stuff is super useful because I found as an active voter that it's really difficult to find all the information about these voters, who's all running, because you don't never even see, because the big names, like the first two names on this list, Greg Abbott and Beto O'Rourke, gonna have the biggest budgets. So you're gonna see TV commercial ads, you're gonna hear radio ads, you're gonna see posters and billboards and shit, because they have that budget. The smaller names, you may not even know that they're running. You know what I'm saying? And it's really sad because they don't have no chance if don't nobody know they're running. They don't know who they are. They don't know their name. Name recognition is huge in politics. Anyways, I'm not even into it like that anymore. What is the link that you sent me? I barely even. I like to cover politics for like the sport of it, but as far as getting like emotionally involved in it and shit, I don't do that anymore because I've been studying politics way too long. I'm cynical. Now I understand what happens to the politicians. You know,
Rocker's a politician, y'all.
I'm telling you, bro. It's like it's you already know what's gonna happen when you look at the numbers. Like I could just look at the shit and to give you predictions, and I'll be right a lot of times because the same shit happens over and over. Those damn political pundits, they get paid all that fucking money. It ain't nothing but a computer spitting out data, and it's fucking the averages. You go by the averages, you pretty much gonna be right every fucking time. You know what I'm saying? It pretty much always goes by the way of the numbers. So Ballotpedia, search for Encyclopedia of American Politics. So it just tells you about what the governor is, and Texas governor. But it's different in all states. So, and Texas is different. Texas tends to be different from everybody else in the way that they do shit. News networks are not even getting clicks like that. So this shows like there's an opportunity for this, what we're doing here on this show.
So I really enjoyed seeing you be confident in your perspective. And I think that you have a lot to say, especially when I saw a lot about social issues and politics. And I will be honest, like I'm not as well versed as I probably should be. But I really appreciated being able to learn from your content. I think a lot of people and also have a different perspective. So I think a lot of people, it's kind of like an echo chamber. They like what they like hearing, what they like hearing. And so I'm very much a person who I love seeing both sides. I love getting different perspectives. I love getting different opinions. So I really enjoy being able to learn things from you.
Yeah, man. That's hot shit right there, man. So what we gonna do? We want you to be an activist, and don't take our word for it. Look that shit up. Pulley.